Hi, I'm Ivan Zoot, Clipper guy, Flattopper guy today, and it is flat top time. We're going to use a classic Brian Drum flat topper. It's a classic item in the industry. I've got my original one here, purchased in 1988. Had it around a long time. It's cut a lot of flat tops. I'm going to cut a flat top today, and I'm going to take you through the principles of using a flat topper to execute a very classic squared off flat top shape. Fun, simple, easy, high demand haircut, high frequency haircut. The guys that get them, they just keep coming back because they love their flat tops. Couple of steps involved in cutting, and it's easy to do. Let's go. We're going to use a clipper, and I've got a number 4 guard. I'm going to cut in the perimeter of the haircut with a number 4. We're not doing a super skin tight flat top shape here. We're going to do one that's a little longer and a little fuller that lets us really showcase the techniques that are utilized when using the flat topper comb. Now you'll notice in a tapered haircut, we come in and we rock out. We use what we call a C-shaped or curving motion as we come away from the head like that. In a contour cut, like a buzz cut or crew cut, we follow the curve of the head. In the case of a flat top, we will not do either. We're not going to rock out like a taper, and we're not going to follow the curve like a contour cut. We're going to come to the widest point of the head, the occipital bone, the parietal ridge, the widest point of the head, and we're going to go straight up off the head. When we feel the parietal ridge, the crest line, or the widest point of the head, we will exit the head form or the head shape heading straight up towards the ceiling. That is going to begin to build the verticalness through the back and sides of the haircut that are so essential to our flat top shape. You're going to start to see the accumulation of a bit of weight. That's blending hair. Not to worry, because we will blend it all off later. We're going to come around the ear. The rule on the ear is follow the ear, don't follow the hairline. If we follow the ear, we won't cut him up too high and compromise our ability to blend. Now this has been a 4 guard. That's a ½ inch, and that's going to give me a good basis off of which to build my flat top shape. A little bit later on, after we've squared in much of the top, I'm going to go from my 4 and drop down to my 2 and put a little bit of a taper around the bottom edges. We'll get there when we get there. Now it's time to cut the top. Now, in my video on how to hold the flat topper, I talk about thumb over the top and hand underneath for that teeter-totter effect. And I talk about the importance of having your fingers underneath so that they can sit against the head to balance or stabilize the position of the flat topper. So you're not rocking and rolling, you've got that stability, you're not out here at the end of an outstretched arm, and you're not nowhere near flat. Now, of course, I've got the hack here of the big black spot in the center that serves to remind me that every time I come in with my comb, I want to bring my comb in low and I want to bring it all the way up to top dead center so that it is flat and level at the top of the head. There's another video that I have that talks about the direction we move the clipper. We talk about not moving perpendicular to the teeth, but moving parallel to the teeth or sideways relative to the teeth for smooth cutting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut in the top. We cut in the perimeter with our 4 guard. On longer hair, if we were recutting an existing flat top, the procedure would be different. But cutting a flat top from scratch with all this hair, now we're going to rough in the top. It's not our final finish on the top, it's roughing it in. And we're going to think about the head like it's a clock. 12 o'clock, the nose, 12 o'clock, occipital, 6 o'clock, 9, and 3. Clockwork. And what we're going to do is, we're going to come in low from below, like this. We're going to come up to top dead center, making sure that our flat topper is stable. And we're going to cut the top at 12 o'clock. Then we're going to come in at 1 o'clock. And again, using our hand underneath for balance and stability. And when we make one cut, the 12 o'clock cut is our first cut, then we've got some guide up there. Every time we insert the flat topper and come back up top, this would be the 11 o'clock position, we make sure we've got a little bit of previously cut hair in the comb to serve as our guide. Visibility, light comb, dark hair, easy to see. Follow along with me. It's easy and it's fun. Nothing to it. Here we go. Clipper in an underhand position with the blade adjusted to the close closed or 000 spot. Turn it on. Clipper running, underhand grip. Teeter-totter position on my flat topper. I come in at 12 o'clock. I stabilize on the head, and I'm going to come in at an angle, and notice I'm moving the hair outward towards the spine of the comb. I'm coming in at an angle, and I'm taking off either at an angle or parallel to the teeth to level that top off. That's our first cut. That's our 12 o'clock. We're right in the ballpark, friends. All right, now I'm going to come in at 1 o'clock. I'm changing my position to change the way in which you'll see this. I would remain stationary and turn the client were I cutting in a shop situation, but now I'm going to come in at 1 o'clock. And when I come in at 1 o'clock, I come back to top dead center. I get that spot all the way up to the top of the head, and I cut, and I cut, and I cut. And I make sure that I can see the guide from my previous cut section extending just through the flat topper. That was my 1 o'clock cut. Now I'm moving to 11 o'clock. The 11 o'clock cut, we're going to come in here. Notice my knuckles resting on the forehead, my thumb on top of my flat topper level and flat with the floor. I can see the guide. If you can't see the guide, don't cut. And the other expression I love is when there's nothing to cut, cut nothing. When there's nothing to cut, cut nothing. If you bring the flat topper up and there's nothing in there to be cut, you're not there to cut if there's nothing to cut. That was 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I'm coming in here at 2 o'clock. I'm going to come up. I'm going to look for my guides. I'm going to look for my positioning. And again, my knuckles are stabilizing my flat topper tool for easy cutting. Now I'm going to go 3 o'clock. I went 2 o'clock. Now I'm going to go 3 o'clock. And once again, look for the guide. Stabilize the tool. Cut perpendicular to the spine, parallel to the teeth. Now I'm going to go for 10 o'clock because we went 11. Now I'm coming up for 10. And you'll notice when I come up to 10 o'clock, I'm going to change my position so you get a better look at that. When I come up to 10 o'clock, there's almost nothing left to cut at this point of the head, and certainly in the front portion of the haircut. There's almost nothing left in that flat topper. We've just got some hair further back in the head. No problem. Now, I'm going to go to 9 o'clock. That's the point directly above the ear, bringing my flat topper up to top dead center and matching everything through. I've now done the entire front half of the head. I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to go to 6 o'clock, and I'm going to do the back portion 6, 7, 5, 8, 4 to finish out the back. So again, we're going to come in low. We're going to come all the way up to top dead center, and we're going to push that clipper back. We've got a lot of hair accumulating in along the back of the spine. You hear the clipper fight it just a little bit, and then we move on through. That was 6 o'clock. This is 5 o'clock. This is 7 o'clock, and you can see that little bit of longer hair when we get the 7 o'clock section in, but the majority of that hair has already been cut because we've worked our way all the way around the head. Always coming up to top dead center, always making sure that our flat topper is solidly in place and supremely level in its positioning. Now you got to look at what we got going on here. We've really got that flat plane going on. If you bring that front hairline up, you can see it follows through with that flatness. But we've got this heavyweight corner coming around. Now, we want to work up from below and down from above. Up from below will look like this. where we come up from below. And at this point, I grab my flat topper here. I grab my flat topper here and work this way. And notice I'm working parallel to the teeth coming up from below. And you're seeing that overhang coming away. I've got that large surface. Look how that side is now starting to square up and square in. I can hold it by the handle if in certain places, especially as we manipulate around the ear, if in certain places it's more comfortable to do so, but look for the guide. Look for the lighter hair. Look for the color, and look to be sure that the flat topper is perfectly straight up and down, or that the flat topper is tipped out towards me just a little bit. The top of the tips of the teeth are tipped out towards me. I don't want to compromise that flat top shape by having the top of the tips of the teeth tipped in and have me cut off a big corner that was going to be an important part of my haircut. So I continue now around the head, continue now using my flat topper, coming up from below. Looking for shorter hair in the guide. Now you'll notice one of the things I'm doing here is I'm applying pressure to the flat topper with the heel or the back edge of the clipper. That's letting me cut less than all the hair that's hanging out. I'm going to slow this down now. If I set the flat topper in and I stop and I say, that is what I want, I'm coming in with the teeth of the blade flat against the flat topper. But if I'm working the surface down, I'm more finessing the surface. I'm going to heel ride. I'm going to ride the heel and tip back a little bit so that I am more polishing off the hair that's hanging out. So now we've started to get a nice vertical sidewall going on here. We know the top's been leveled out nicely. So it's time to wet the hair, dry the hair, up in position to get a real good look at what we have going on. I'm still here. Just had to get down and grab the blow dryer. First we'll blow the little pieces out. Get rid of the clippings just so that it's a little more comfortable. Now we're going to dampen the client just a little bit with a water bottle. I'm going to get that. I don't want it damp. I want it damp. I don't want it wet or dripping. So get the hair a little bit damp. Firm hold styling gel. Remember, we don't like hairspray because hairspray will bind the comb. Firm hold styling gel. You don't need a whole lot of it, but just enough to get the hair wet with gel with the water. The water is going to thin the gel and help spread it just a little bit. And the next thing we do is we blow dry this haircut up into position. Now, just as I did in one of my earlier demo videos that's on the playlist in this collection, I'm wiping off my hands. I'm buying a little time. I'm stalling a minute or two. I'm going to grab my Denman brush and my blow dryer, and now I'm going to blow the hair straight up, all the way around. Not back. I don't want to slicken back. I want to blow it straight up. I won't talk to overtalk the blow dryer. Here we go. At the sides, I'm going to blow the sides up. opposite side. And notice you can see where we've got some hair popping and sticking. That's going to need a little bit of attention. Now we know this guy's a mannequin. We know mannequins aren't humans. We know we don't have the cowlick crown radiating around in the back like it would be on a regular individual. So we know we've got some finessing to do. I'm going to put a small amount of matte paste into his haircut. The matte paste is a dry paste consistency product. Don't need a whole lot of it. Just going to use a little bit of it. It's going to give the hair a little bit of fight and a little bit of bite and a little bit of resistance and a little bit of tenacity against my cutting tools. It'll just help me shape this in a little bit. But you'll notice once it's dry, it's cut in, but it's not smooth and it's not level and it's not even because it was in its natural state. Now that we've got it blown dry, we're going to polish it up. So we're going to come in with that 12 o'clock position, just like we did before. We want to be at eye level so we can get a good look at him. We're going to come in, and now we're going to start to polish some things up. Notice how I stabilize the flat topper on his forehead with my hand, and look how much flatter that top is already. That was just the 12 o'clock position. Here's about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Here's about 3 o'clock. And already that whole top is looking exponentially better than it did. There's a whole bunch of stuff that just needs to come off. And it's just about the distortion of where the hair was positioned the first time. Now, we talked about the fact that we don't have a regular crown like we do on a real live human. So what you'll see when I redirect this hair up and I rest and I stabilize and I position and I clean and I square, I'm liking that top. It's looking and feeling really good now. I see one little piece that's just calling, oh, there it is, calling my name, Ivan, get me. All right, I've got this big heavy amount of hair at the back here. What that means is we need to bevel off the back because of the head shape, the bone structure, the length of the hair. That's too much of a heavy accumulation. So I'm going to come in with my flat topper now at a bit of an angle in through the back. And I'm going to bevel off the back. And you'll see just how nice this is going to look. When I bevel off the back like this is where the flat top now is not a tool for flattening per se, but becomes a tool for blending and shaping. And now look what we've got. We've got a really nice contour through the back portion of this flat top. Now, in this corner, we're going to have to finesse this just a little. And at this point, one of my most powerful and most important hair cutting tools becomes my mirror. It'll become essential now that I use my mirror as a tool for balancing the shape side to side, left to right, around the head. I'd be looking at my silhouette in the mirror and working to shape and polish. Now, we cut in the perimeter, we cut across the top. We're going to redirect some of the down from above now to really square in those sides. Now that the hair's been blown dry, we can really see what some of those sides are going to look like. And you can really see these sides shaping up and shaping in. Turn the tool over. And continue to polish that up. Let's see how that's looking. Yeah, that's looking nice and square on that side. Let's take a look at the opposite side now. Just like we did, we redirect that hair down from above. And notice, again, I'm working at an angle relative to the teeth. I'm not working perfectly perpendicular to the teeth. I'm working at a bit of an angle. That's shaped in really, really nice. Okay, I said earlier in the video, once we squared out the top, having cut with a 4, I'm going to go to a 2-guard now. 2-guard, blade closed, and I'm just going to finesse in the bottom edges on this to put a little more of a taper into the shape. Rocking the tool out so my 2 will blend really nicely up into my 4. We've used water and a blow dryer, and then we used a little bit of matte paste as a working product and a bit of a styling product. When we're done, we're going to finish with just a touch of classic wax, and we'll have us a pretty nice classic flat top haircut. See how we've got the flat top with the bevel at the back and the taper through the back and sides. Looking good. Now we've got one thing left, and that is detailing, lining and edging. Another great UK product, Scotland, Northern Ireland. This is Denman, the Zootcomb by Jack Dean for Denman. Yes, I'm Ivan Zoot, and this is my Zootcomb. We've got a detailing, lining, edging, and finishing comb deliberately built into the handle of that Zootcomb. And look what we do here. We go lining and edging. There's our T-blade coming around on him to tune that up and tune that in. Opposite side, we go to the sideburn on the other side of the head. We go to our fine-tooth detailing comb. And around the ear on this side as well. You can get your Flattopper online at ivanzoot.com. You can get your Zootcomb online at ivanzoot.com. The Clipper Guy Firm Hold Gel, the matte paste, the classic wax, all available on the website at ivanzoot.com. So go there for all the tools you need to help you do beautiful work with a clipper and a classic tool like a Flattopper and a soon-to-be classic tool like a Zootcomb. It hasn't been out there in the market long enough for us to quite call it classic yet, but we'll get there. Compared to the Flattopper, we've only got about 30 years to go. Fine tune and detail. Don't forget ears, hair in the ears, eyebrows, nose hair. The little things don't mean a lot. They mean everything. Classic wax. Not a lot, just a little. It's what you need. Clipper Guy Classic Wax on your hands and in his hair. A lot of times, even with the wax on, I might put a little bit of moisture in the hair. I might hit him with a water bottle just a touch. It'll beat up on that wax, but It'll also give me the chance for a final blow dry and a final check for anything that just is feeling like it wants to be uncooperative. Anything that isn't laying where it should be or sticking up where it shouldn't. Here we go. Maybe one or two strays, because that's why we check. He's looking flat, we're looking good, and you're looking like you're ready to get a flat topper and create one of these yourself. The link is in the description for the video for the flat topper, for the Zootcomb, for the products, all online at ivanzoot.com. And there's an invitation there to join my online community at patreon.com/ivanzoot. Like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and come back again. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.